Hey y'all, it's meteorologist Erica Lopez. On this Tuesday, we're continuing to track Hurricane Ian, its impacts across portions of Cuba, and its trajectory into the Florida Peninsula. But before we get to all those forecast details, I want to remind you, a lot of new people here joining us on the MyRadar app and across our social media platforms. But we're going to have a very special interview at the beginning of next month with the National Weather Service Director, Ken Graham. If you have any questions pertaining to weather and climate, leave them in the comment section, or you can always send us a direct message. Now let's go to the MyRadar app and show you what's going on with Hurricane Ian making landfall in Cuba early this morning as a Category 3 storm. Now, as it comes over the warm Gulf waters and eventually coming close to the Florida coastline, you're going to start to see these impacts. Now, we're already starting to see a lot of the rain bands starting to enter portions of South Florida. I'm talking about you guys in Miami and even across portions of the Florida Keys and even across the Florida West Coast. Now, what we're concerned about with this storm is its impacts on storm surge across the Florida West Coast, areas of Tampa, and then eventually this will make its way across portions of Central Florida, where we're already seeing flood watches being issued, tropical storm warnings also issued, including Orange County, Orlando, Florida. That's where we are located, all the way down into Florida's Central Coast there, and even across Florida's East Coast, where we're watching tropical storm watches. Now, tropical storm warnings means you are going to start to see tropical storm conditions within a 36-hour time frame. And then we also have to talk about what's going on across Florida's North Coast here, with storm surge watches issued and tropical storm watches also issued for areas of Jacksonville, also including areas of Georgia. We're expecting a lot of rainfall with this particular storm system over the next several days. But our meteorologist MatthewCappucci is also joining us here this morning. And Matt, tell us a little bit about what's going on with Hurricane Ian and what we're expecting to see over the next several days.
My biggest concern is that there are so many different threats with this system, between surge, flooding, rainfall, tornadoes, and of course damaging winds. Kind of want to break down where the storm is likely going and where the hazards will be the most significant. So kind of good agreement model-wise. It's passing north of Cuba right now, brought serious impacts there overnight. Now it's really going to rapidly intensify again to Category 4 strength, well southwest of Florida, kind of weakening upon a final approach, but should still be a high-end Category 2 to approaching Category 3. Now here's what it looks like. I want to emphasize a couple things. This is early morning Wednesday. East of the circulation, we got all these kind of spiral rain bands. These could bring a couple isolated tornadoes to southern portions of the Sunshine State, working north in the afternoon, even impacting like Tampa to Orlando, maybe Jacksonville late in the evening, but really anyone who gets a spiral rain band east of the center, so virtually everyone, by virtue of the fact that this is kind of off to the west, could see an isolated tornado. Inside, you get heavier rain, especially north of the circulation. Right around here, this kind of buzzsaw. These are the damaging to destructive winds to about 100 miles an hour near the coastline, maybe 110 a few locales, kind of falling back to about 60 or 70 miles an hour farther inland. And then right in here, that dearth of activity, that is the eye where things briefly go calm. And of course, forecast is for this to move somewhere between Caloosahatchee River and near or north of Tampa Bay. We're just not sure yet exactly where it will go. We are refining these forecasts right now. Now here's the thing, spinning counterclockwise like this. So south of the circulation, we got that onshore wind pushing water against the coastline. To the north, offshore winds pulling it away from the coastline. So a much worse surge to the right or to the south of the center with this when all is said and done. As for how bad the surge could be, 5 to 10 feet in Tampa Bay. That may shift south a little bit, 5 to 8 feet elsewhere. Keep in mind, this is the reasonable worst case scenario storm surge, roughly a 1 in 10 chance it gets this bad at your given location. But remember, run from the water, hide from the wind. You can't really escape water if you're below sea level or below where the storm surge will actually tower to. So just move inland if you're in an evacuation zone. Just play it safe, play it smart. You want to make sure you are safe if at all possible. Again, precip will be heavy too. One other thing I want to point out, if we take a look at the American GFS model, actually we'll do the European model. Look at all this heavy rainfall. We'll switch over to Florida right here. You see the heaviest rain near or north of the center of the storm. So the center would be like right around here. Heaviest access up to about 20 inches in the purple right there. The reason being, at the upper levels, if I can actually do this real quick, switching over to the American GFS model. At the upper levels, we got, here we go, upper air moisture. We have a moisture gradient. Look at all this dry air wrapping in on the south side of the circulation. So this dry air would kind of kick up the moisture to the north even more, giving that really heavy strip of rainfall somewhere in the vicinity of, I'd say, near or north of Tampa Bay, moving inland as well. So again, as for how much rainfall, wow. Yeah, this model, this is the American GFS model, now showing up to 40 inches of rain here. I don't really buy this, but needless to say, somebody's going to see an insane amount of rain. Freshwater flooding possible near and north of the center, saltwater flooding near the coastline, near and south of the center, tornadoes, very destructive winds near the coastline. This is something you should not mess around with.
Thank you so much, Matt. I've enjoyed you having here in Orlando, Florida with us, joining us in studio as you are preparing to head out to the storm later on today. And of course, you can follow us all across the social media platforms. We're continuing to update you on what's going on with the latest on Hurricane Ian. And of course, we're going to keep you updated with team coverage throughout the rest of this morning and into the afternoon. So stay tuned on there, and I'll see you back here later on today and into tomorrow.
Follow MyRadar on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Download MyRadar on iOS, Android, Amazon Alexa, Xbox, and Windows.